Guys, I'm so excited about all the crazy changes that have now launched at EXP that completely destroys any competitor model in the field. If you're at Real, Epic, LPT, or any of these other companies, listen closely because I'm going to explain in this video exactly what's changed and why it completely dominates and destroys every single one of these other platforms that are out there trying to contend with EXP. I know if you're a new agent, make sure to tune in. I'm going to go through all of the specifics, what's new, what's changed, why that benefits you, and how you can utilize this crazy platform and partnering with our group to maximize the efficiencies in your business. So of course, guys, if you're interested in trying to partner with an amazing group that's one of the biggest, fastest growing groups in the entire world, make sure to connect with me. And I'm happy to walk you through all of the amazing specific benefits that we offer on top of what EXP's amazing platform already does. But before I get into all of this, I just want you to understand that I'm coming at this from an unbiased view. And what I want to do is actually break down all the specifics, what's possible, and what you can do with the new EXP Revenue Share 2.0. To start, EXP's total promise is that they will always give half of their gross to the agents in the form of revenue shares. And here is actually a function of how that works. EXP is an 80-20 model unless you are a team, a standard team, a self-organized team, or something very specific. If you are one of these people, or you're a team leader, a broker owner, or something like that, you want to delve into specifics and how this would affect you, I'm happy to do that as well. I've helped multiple broker owners actually transfer over into EXP. I actually personally owned a 4-office brokerage, so I understand exactly how that process works. But EXP splits revenue share in half. So they take 20% of a commission, then of that 20%, they split it down the middle. EXP retains 50%, and they give the other 50% to the agents. And this is the updates though. The updates have made things way more clear. All of you have heard about frontline qualifying agents. If you haven't, that's an agent that's actually performed a deal, and that can help you get access to future tiers inside of EXP's 7-tier revenue share payout structure. In every other model, there are frontline qualifying agent requirements as well. One of the biggest changes in EXP Revenue Share 2.0 is that they have completely removed the requirement for frontline qualifying agents for the first 3 tiers. And this is what the new revenue share table actually looks like. They've simplified it, they've made it easier to understand, and instead of having any of those pesky buffers that everybody has ever always wanted to talk about, now we give guaranteed minimum payouts plus bonuses on the first 3 tiers. And I'm going to get into all of that here in a second, but this is how the FLQAs actually track today. The first 3 tiers, you'll notice right on the screen, there are no requirements for the first entire 3 tiers. And that means you will be 100% compensated for all agents in the first 3 tiers of any organization that you grow. On your 4th tier, you do require 5 FLQAs, 10 for number 5, 15 for number 6, and it is still 30 FLQAs for tier 7. To get access to all of those, you only need 30 FLQAs. But what was found after looking at the data of over 90,000 agents is that FLQAs, in other words, getting agents to name you as the sponsor, was the primary issue in growing organizations and growing groups. If you look at any of the other organizations trying to build something out like this, they don't even have more than maybe 5 different tiers in their entire structure. So for them to be able to eliminate frontline or sponsoring agents down to completely 0 for 3 tiers is completely unfeasible. Now, instead of saying it'll be a percentage off of the gross amount of a transaction, which is what used to happen, it is now a percentage of the revenue share pool. In other words, when an agent does a deal and the 20% is retained and it's split, in other words, 10% is sent into the revenue share pool. Now that pool is then split by percentages to the various different tiers. A big distinction and delineation between this and any other competitor structure is that EXP also offers something called expansion share. In other words, if you have completely open 3 tiers, but you have agents in your 4th, 5th, 6th, and maybe your 7th tier over the years, if you don't open those tiers up in any other structure, you're not going to get compensated anything for those agents doing deals. But in the EXP structure, you are still getting a portion of that revenue share, even though you don't fully qualify for the larger exponential share. I can break down all of these, but effectively, what's happened is we have shifted the nomenclature from a potential maximum payout, which this is what ended up happening. You would see an amount, then a buffer on that amount, then at the end of the month, an adjustment to that buffer, which is what all of those other companies are now having to implement as well. To avoid all of that confusion, EXP has changed it to now be a guaranteed minimum plus bonuses, and that's it. That new guaranteed minimum also allows EXP to give instant payouts. So instead of waiting your entire month before you get access to your revenue share, you can actually get your revenue share immediately when deals close. Now, the bonuses don't come at that time. The bonuses will still be given at the end of the month when the revenue share pool can actually be calculated. This is how this actually breaks down if no one's ever properly explained it to you. If an agent does a $10,000 deal, the agent will get $8,000, assuming they haven't already capped. The company will retain $2,000. Of that $2,000, it's split in half. EXP takes the $1,000. Now the revenue share pool gets the other $1,000. If you look right here in the center column, you'll actually see the payouts on a $10,000 agent commission, guaranteed minimums for each tier. In other words, tier 1 will guaranteed pay out $175, or tier 7, $250. That being said, you'll see that the capping agent minimum payout per year looks on the surface like it actually did go down. But what people don't realize is nobody was hitting the actual proposed potential maximums that EXP used to say. So in an attempt to be more open and be easier to understand, the same amount of revenue share will be given, but instead of having 2 separate adjustments to get there, it will be a minimum, then the bonus. So these minimums will be a guaranteed amount, and then you will see bonuses on the first 3 tiers. These bonuses are based on agents who aren't qualified for FLQAs in lower tiers, or potentially agents that leave the industry or potentially leave to a different brokerage over time. That revenue share still needs to go somewhere because the promise is that EXP will give 50% of its revenue to revenue share. Now, another massive change is on tier 1 of EXP. For the first year that a person names you as a personally sponsored agent, you will actually receive a guaranteed $4,000, assuming that agent hits their cap, on that first year, and then it will revert to the normal tier 1 minimum payout plus bonus. The really cool thing about what's happened here with the 3 layers of FLQAs not required is it now becomes possible for you to focus on attracting teams, team leaders, team brokerage owners, and people that have a large following, knowing that you will be properly compensated for bringing those types of people and those companies in to the group. Because in every other model, you would have to have 5, 10, 15 FLQAs that are actually selling deals, which means you would need 20 or 25 agents that have named you as a personally sponsored agent before you'd even have the opportunity to get any of that revenue share to you. Even though it's possible, if no one actually earns that revenue share, it doesn't matter. Now, when you look at the breakdown of this, there are 3 main things that have happened. Number 1, instant payouts instead of every month. So you instant payouts plus bonuses at the end of the month either way. Number 2, FLQAs have dropped to 0 on the first 3 tiers, and then it's only 5, 10, 15, and 30. So it's an extremely attractive model for FLQAs, team leaders, and for partnerships as they're trying to grow partnerships together, because now they have access to working together easier and more effectively. And number 3, a shift from potential maximums to guaranteed minimums plus bonuses allows for an easier to understand compensation structure, and it allows for less adjustments and less confusion on the back end of what you're ultimately going to get paid. So I understand I went through a ton of different things here, and if you're not familiar with all the breakdowns and the structures and the things that I was talking about in this video, completely feel free to reach out to me. My direct line is 253-737-8018, and just so you know, I've been in this industry for 12 years. I lead a group of hundreds of agents. I trained hundreds of agents. I've owned brokerages, and I've actually done over $1 billion worth of transactions in my time as an agent, and I would be here alongside my industry leading partners in different niches to help you grow in this industry, whether it is production focused or whether it's trying to grow a group and an organization so you can have a way to ultimately retire. And if you are actively searching for a model like this, and maybe you're considering other options, should you look at EXP? Should you look at Real, LPT? Should you look at Epic? If you're not sure, schedule a time to talk to me. Shoot me a text message or give me a call. Again, my number is 253-737-8018. I look forward to talking to you. And again, I will give you the raw and candid reasons why I merged my 4-office brokerage over to EXP and not those other competitors. And now with EXP 2.0, I'm more excited than ever before because I know there is no way that anybody can keep up.